Hi, I'm Austin Lafferty, one of the solicitors in the firm. Today I want to talk to you about power of attorney. It's become a popular thing, if that's the right word. At least the Public Guardian's Office, which I'll tell you about in a minute, is very, very busy processing many powers of attorney which people are creating because their circumstances require it. So let's start with what is a power of attorney. What do the words mean? It's actually a borrowing from English law. The old word attorney just means an agent. It's become a law agent in the United States where they talk about lawyers being attorneys. But it's really just an old word meaning agent, somebody that does something for somebody else. The concept of the power of attorney started a long time ago, and all it is in my world, in my Scottish law vocabulary, is a deed of agency. That means more to me because it is somebody who appoints somebody else to do work for them. And there's all kinds of agents, but the kind of agent that is involved in a power of attorney nowadays is somebody who is trusted to look after your money, property, business, debts, bank accounts, if you are not fit to do so, and also to look after your welfare. And by welfare, I mean if you perhaps require to go into a care home, or you require hospital treatment, medical care, or somebody's involved with the social work department because of their needs, and they are not themselves capable of having the discussions, the meetings, so they need somebody else that they trust to do so. So that's what we call a power of attorney under the Adults with Incapacity Act. That's different from a business power of attorney where a director of a company might appoint somebody to sign things on his behalf in Venezuela. Here we're talking about people who have lost capacity. Capacity is just a word that means their ability to do things, and it may be mental capacity, physical capacity, or both. The law was changed some years ago to create a uniform system of powers of attorney in Scotland. It's the same phrase they use in England, and there is a system in England for registration of powers of attorney, but it is different there. So please be aware that if you are thinking of a power of attorney and you research it on the internet, or speak to one of our lawyers, or look at the information on our website, we are talking about Scottish powers of attorney. So let's concentrate on that. Why do you need to think about a power of attorney? If you're well today and you hope to stay well and look after your own bank accounts and your property and everything else, then why should you bother with a power of attorney? Well, the answer is it's a risk. We all get older every day, and some of us will take a stroke, some of us will become ill or start to deteriorate with mental incapacity, Alzheimer's, or some other dementia. Some of us will be in an accident, and as a result of that are just unable to look after ourselves and organise our money and debts and bills and property and usual finances. Now, here's the thing. If you fall victim to any of that, and you do not have a power of attorney in place already, then it's too late. You cannot grant a power of attorney if you have already lost capacity, particularly mental capacity. And if that happens, then everything is frozen. Bank accounts, debts, negotiations with a care home proprietor to get you into a place to be looked after, hospital appointments. None of that can happen without a power of attorney. And the only alternative is for somebody, whether it's a relative of yours or the local authority, to go to court, sheriff court, and seek an incapacity guardianship order or intervention order. There's various orders. Let's talk about guardianship. That's a very intrusive thing. It can be a very expensive thing. It can be very slow. It involves court hearings and lots of reports from mental welfare officials, from doctors, psychiatrists, so that the court, the sheriff, can be satisfied that it's appropriate to grant the order. And in the meantime, your debts aren't paid. In the meantime, your house is going to rack and ruin, and your bank accounts are in chaos. And the way of avoiding that situation is to make a power of attorney when you are well enough to do so. In a way, it's like insurance and insurance policy. You take out insurance hoping you won't have a car accident, because you might have a car accident. In the same way, you make a power of attorney hoping it will never be used and that you'll die of a ripe old age from the round the world cruise and too much food and drink. But the reality is, we don't know if we're going to deteriorate, and if we do, by goodness, we will need to have made a power of attorney. What happens when you make a power of attorney? Well, you see one of our solicitors, and we have a discussion with you, whether by meeting or more likely video call, and we find out what you have. We're not intrusive, we don't want to know everything, but we just want to know what the power of attorney is to cover. And that may be bank accounts, your home, it may be some investments, it may be some other factors. Perhaps you are involved in projects that need your input financially, and you want to see them continue even if you lose capacity. So we get an overview, and a power of attorney is drawn up according to your needs and specifications. You sign it, we certify it as solicitors to say that you understand what you're doing, and that gets registered in the Public Guardian's Office, as I said. One of the most important things is, whom do you choose as your attorney? And although the word is equivalent of lawyer, you don't need a lawyer. You need somebody you trust and somebody who's capable, and that could be a member of your family. If you're a married couple, it could be each other, husband and wife appointing each other, with a reserve attorney, such as one of your children or two of your children or more. You can have any number of attorneys. It's better to have a manageable number, maybe a couple appointed jointly and severally. But the lawyer will discuss that with you. We will advise you what is the best configuration, and you will advise us who the best people are. So we make sure the power of attorney covers their appointment and all the powers that they may need in future. Once the power of attorney is registered, it just sits there. You don't need to bring it into operation. In fact, you don't bring it into operation if you stay well and fit and looking after yourself. Those you have appointed, whom you would have told or agreed with them they were willing to be appointed, will just sit in the background, and they might never be needed. But if they are needed, if something goes wrong, either, as I say, you fall mentally ill over time, you could deteriorate bit by bit, as people do. You could be in an accident and all of a sudden need help and looking after, or you could have in effect any number of ways that it comes to the point that you need somebody to step in and look after your business and your welfare. So there's a lot more to it than that. This is a thumbnail sketch, but look at the information on our website. Call or contact our firm to speak to one of the lawyers. We're quite happy to give you some preliminary advice without committing you to actually going ahead with a power of attorney. But if it's needed, if it's appropriate, we will advise you and we will take you through the whole process. And that is the power of attorney.